So what Jesus is going to condemn in this text is not his wealth. It's this attitude of presumption that life consists in the abundance of my possessions. I have so many possessions, therefore, that also must mean I have so much life left to live. So eat, drink, and be merry. And they would have thought that this guy was doing everything he needs to do. The story takes a twist, though, in verse 20. Jesus says that God says about this guy that he's a fool. But God said to him, "You fool." And the audience would have been shocked. Maybe some of us are shocked. How can he be a fool? This guy's blessed. We should invite this guy to talk about how to manage your money, and yet you're calling this guy a fool. And Jesus might say that to some of us if we have the same kind of attitude that this guy has, this attitude that all of my extra is for my consumption. Last week we called this the consumption assumption. Everything that I have is either for my consumption now or it's for my consumption later. I either get it now and I spend, and even go into consumer debt to spend, or I save it now so that later on when I need the money, I'll have it. And Jesus is saying, there's a kind of perspective that feeds that mentality that could make you a fool. Creates tension, a disconnect between him and his audience, maybe even him and us. And he's not a fool because he was wealthy. You know that because Jesus had a lot of wealthy friends and he never condemned wealth. And he's not even a fool because he saved some money. The Bible teaches that we should save our money. It teaches wise money management. He was a fool because of this assumption that just because I have a certain amount of stuff, that also means I have a certain duration and quality of life. And Jesus says that's foolish. Just because you think you have extra doesn't mean you necessarily have that amount of life, because life does not consist in the abundance of your possessions.